If you've been scrolling through dozens of Wi-Fi 6 access points, comparing specs, watching unboxing videos, and still feel stuck wondering which one actually makes sense for your business or home office, this review is going to clear that up. I've spent the last week reading through the official Meraki documentation, checking the community forums, and even firing up a test AP in my own tiny office to see how it behaves in real-world traffic. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. Let's cut through the hype and figure out if the MR76HW cloud-managed Wi-Fi 6 access point bundle is the right fit for you, or if you'd be better off looking elsewhere. First off, the MR76HW is positioned as an enterprise-grade Wi-Fi 6 AP that you manage entirely from the cloud. That sounds great on paper, especially if you've ever felt frustrated by having to juggle multiple on-prem controllers or constantly update firmware on a handful of devices. In practice, the biggest draw is the simplicity of the Meraki dashboard. You get a single pane of glass where you can see every client, apply traffic shaping policies, and pull reports on usage patterns. For IT admins who need to support several sites, that centralized view can shave hours off monthly maintenance. Now, who should actually consider buying this bundle? If you run a small to medium office, think 20 to 150 users where you have a mix of laptops, smartphones, and maybe a few IoT sensors, the MR76HW can deliver the kind of consistent, high-density coverage that older 802.11 AC gear struggles with. The 4.8 gigabits per second aggregate throughput isn't a guarantee that each device will see gigabit speeds, but in a busy conference room full of video call participants, the AP's OFDMA and MMO capabilities keep latency low and prevent the dreaded everyone's buffering scenario. I ran a quick test with 3 4K video streams and a simultaneous file upload, and the AP handled the traffic without dropping packets, a clear sign that the traffic shaping engine is doing its job. On the flip side, if you're a home user with just a handful of devices, you probably don't need the heavy-duty features that come with this Meraki bundle. The cloud management model means you have to subscribe to Meraki's licensing system after the initial period, and that adds a recurring cost that can quickly outweigh the benefits for a small household. In short, unless you have a specific need for enterprise-level monitoring, the MR76HW is overkill for a typical family network. One of the practical strengths that often gets glossed over in the marketing copy is the AP's ability to segment traffic on the fly. Using the dashboard, I set up a guest SSID with a bandwidth cap of 5 megabits per second per client, and a separate staff SSID that gets priority for VoIP calls. The AP automatically enforces those limits without any extra hardware, which is a huge win for businesses that want to protect critical applications from a noisy coworker streaming music. The advanced traffic shaping isn't just a buzzword, it actively reshapes packets based on the policy you define, and you can see the impact in real time on the dashboard graphs. Another real-world win is the built-in security suite. Meraki's firmware receives monthly updates directly from Cisco, meaning you get the latest patches without having to plan a maintenance window. I didn't notice any noticeable downtime during those updates. The AP simply reboots for a few seconds and comes back online. For environments that handle sensitive data, that constant patching cadence is a tangible safeguard against emerging threats. But there are hidden trade-offs you need to be aware of. The first is that the MR76HW does not include a license in the bundle. That means once the trial period ends, typically 30 days, you'll need to purchase a recurring license to keep the device active on the cloud. If you're budgeting for a one-time hardware expense, plan on that additional line item. The second trade-off is power. This model supports PoE++, 802.3 BT, which is great if you have a modern PoE switch, but older switches that only provide 15.4 W or 30 W won't be able to power the AP fully. I tried plugging it into a legacy PoE+ switch, and while it powered up, the radio output throttled, leading to slightly weaker coverage in the far corners of the office. Another practical weakness is the lack of a local fallback mode. If your internet connection to the Meraki cloud goes down, the AP still works for basic Wi-Fi, but you lose all the policy enforcement, client visibility, and automatic firmware upgrades. In a scenario where a business relies on the dashboard for compliance reporting, that network outage could become a headache. For most small offices, the impact is minimal, but it's worth noting if you need guaranteed policy enforcement at all times. Now, let's talk about the value proposition beyond the numbers. The enterprise-grade control claim translates to a hands-off experience. You set up SIDs, VLANs, and traffic limits once, and the cloud pushes those configurations automatically if you replace the AP or add a new one. That reduces the time you'd spend manually copying settings across devices. In my own setup,